apologize for the technical difficulties I'm having. Give me 1 second. Let me grab my mic. For whatever reason, it is not allowing me to schedule the time that I need to schedule. And so I made sure that it's, my time. Maybe it's just, it says it's just waiting. So my apologies. I hope you guys can come on over here. Uh, Something told me not to do this way, that I shouldn't schedule it because we had difficulties last week too. So I know better going forward. I'll give you guys a few moments to join. Thank you so much. I hope you're having a great morning, afternoon, whatever time it is, wherever you are in the world. For those of you who are joining me in the future, I definitely hope that you're having a great day. I hope you're having a great day. So I'm just waiting on folks to join. How is your Sunday going? We're going to talk funding and financing your move abroad. I'm going to close my door. I had my door open. You guys might be able to hear the background noise. I'm trying to avoid some of that. But yeah, just waiting on you guys to join over here. And I'm hoping that will be joining me soon. We will not have these technical problems next time. Definitely not. Next time I am just going to not schedule it because, yeah, don't want these technical issues. That's not good, right? Hey, Ambitious Panda. Hello. How are you? Thank you for joining. I hope you're having a great Sunday. Hope you're having a great Sunday. I apologize again for the technical issues that I'm having. I know better next time. I'm not scheduling anything because this is the second time in a row that this has happened. I'm trying to stay ahead of the jump, and yeah, scheduling is just not working. So I don't know, even though I'm setting it for my time, maybe that's the issue. I don't know. I'm setting it for my time. And so maybe it's not, it should be for, I don't know, 12 noon. But the thing is, when I'm setting it, it's saying, like, when I go on there, it says it's coming up in, like, 10 minutes or 3 minutes or whatever. It's showing the right time, but not quite working out. So we're going to talk funding your move abroad adventures, funding your solo travel. How do you get money for that? How are you going to fund it? How are you going to finance a lifestyle? So I'm excited to have everyone join me. Thank you for joining me. Ambitious Panda, you're the first one, so thank you very much for that. I appreciate you tuning in. Definitely appreciate you tuning in. So I'm hoping I had some people waiting, and I'm hoping that they will come on over here. Ambitious Panda, what questions do you have? Do you have any questions? I can start talking now. I can just begin talking. Do you have any questions for me that I can help in terms of your move abroad journey? Hey, je m'appelle Janelle. Salut. How are you? Let's see. What questions do we have? I'll listen. I will just start talking. I will just start running my mouth and telling you about my move abroad journey. Ambitious Panda, you're moving to Paris. Congratulations. Just waiting for your visa to process. Yes. I don't know if one of my friends is on the call. She just got her visa approved this week. I don't know if she's watching. If she is, hopefully she'll chime in. I don't know if she's busy or not. But congratulations, that visa to process. Listen, you are at the home stretch. Congratulations. You will get it, and it'll be a great experience. Congratulations. Uh, Ambitious, you're thinking of living in the 92 area instead of mainland Paris. Hey, listen, I get it. Mainland Paris is expensive. It's expensive. I totally get it. You know, yeah, totally get it. Man, I think I'll say it like this. I want to move to a bigger spot. With my finances the way they are right now, I've got this place locked in for a year and some change. And so I think I may stay here for right now, but when things kick off a little bit more for me, I'm going to be looking at moving, probably a bigger spot, different area. So, but I definitely, Ambitious Panda, outside of Paris is obviously so much cheaper. I'm sure you know that. How long did it take her? Oh, you're moving with work, and they're saying the Olympics may delay some things. Yes. That's one of the best ways to move over. So congratulations again. That's the best way to move over, to have that job already secured. Yeah, what they are saying things are going to be a little just busy, right? Because the Olympics and all that, he told us that for the passport, like a passport renewed last week, and they were saying even for that with the U.S. Embassy to renew it before the Olympics comes into town. So you may experience a delay. My goodness, I'm having Wi-Fi issues. They give you a good estimate, but she got hers ahead of time, so I think it'll be the same way with you. You're so excited, fresh start. I'm excited for you too. Congratulations again. That is really great news. Congratulations. I know you are so excited. It is scary and exciting to get that visa, right? Because in your mind you're like, what if this happens? What if that happens? I'm telling you, you're going to get it. You're moving with your job. The French government, all they care about is that you got money coming in, okay? That's all they care about. So, I had a meeting with my attorney, my immigration attorney this week. And so I was asking him, like, listen, my income is a little different this time. I'm getting some rental income, I'm getting some other income that's temporary, but it's still coming in and it would still qualify me for the visa requirements. And he's just like, yeah, that's fine. Like, contact me 4 months before you can begin applying for a new my 1 year renewal at the 4 month mark. 4 months, we're all good. He's like, count. So that's the main thing they're concerned about. So you should not have an issue. Um, I'm glad. Thank you for watching my videos, Ambitious Panda. Listen, I feel like I need to do some more visa videos because I don't feel like I've given enough tips. So I'm going to. Je m'appelle. Yes, I will provide my contact information for my I'm sorry, not my information. I will provide the attorney's contact information. Hold on, like I need to kind of work on my laptop and my phone. Let me see if I can like join the chat or whatever from here because let me see. Hold on. Or how can I add the chat? It's not allowing me to add it here. And hold on a second, you guys, because I'm also going to let folks know to join me here. Ooh, I'm sorry. Listen, give me 1 second. I'm glad that my advice was able to help you though, Ambitious Panda. And so I'm going to definitely do more videos on that. Je m'appelle, Janelle, I want to make sure you get this information for my attorney. Highly, highly recommend him. My attorney, listen, I can't speak on nobody else. He's good. He's good, right? He's so good. Let's see here. All right, let me put his information in the chat. So y'all, I'm working on my phone and my laptop. I'm not really happy with camera on my laptop, so here, I'm gonna make sure I put this in there. Give me 1 second. And let me look up his information. You definitely are going to love him. I like him a lot because number one, what he does is half up front and half upon the visa completion. Okay, so You don't have any issues. The great thing about him is that anytime that he has told me, hold on, let me grab my mic over here. Anytime that anytime that he has told me when something is going to come back, generally I've gotten it sooner, which I love that. I'm not saying that, sometimes you can't quite help things, right? But I've used him for my initial visa application, and I've used him for the renewal, and I'm definitely going to use him again. Janelle, I'll come on. Thank you. Listen, definitely I'm going to use him from now on. I know some people are like, you don't need an attorney, and that's fine. That's fine. But for me, in dealing with this French bureaucracy, okay, so let me add this in for you. Again, highly recommend him. If you do use him, please tell him that I sent you, okay? Please. I refer anyone that I know who wants to move to France. He is based in Lyon. He is English speaking. Listen, the man is, he knows what he's doing, and like I said, he works pretty quickly. I've not had any issues. I've heard some horror stories about some of these immigration attorneys, and yeah, that's not the case with him. So I'm putting in the chat, I put his name. You'll see his name and a link to his site. So I'm hoping that will help you, Janelle. His site is pretty, he provides a lot of information on his site. Let me fix my wrap here. He provides a lot of information on his site. So you'll get a lot of information from him. He will jump on he's a free complimentary Zoom call. I need to really discuss with him, like we need to do some kind of partnership or something, because I've referred too many people to this man. We need to, listen, help me out, okay? But yeah, he'll do like a 15-minute free consultation if you want to explain your situation. Then he offers, I think, like a half an hour call if you need that. Okay, a paid call. That's an additional fee. Again, half up front. And he's selective about who he takes, because obviously you're paying half up front and half upon completion. So if you don't get that visa, he doesn't get paid, which I like that process, because to me it makes them, you're motivated, right? Most attorneys, I don't exactly know how it works, but I'm assuming you've got to pay most of it up front for most attorneys. You don't I'm assuming, please correct me if I'm wrong, for my legal experts here in this group. If you pay all the money for the attorney, and that's not dependent upon you winning the case, because if you don't win, they're going to get paid regardless. So I love the fact that he does it this way. And it has made, again, me working with him for going on 2 years now, yeah, totally love his advice, love his consultation, all of that. So yep, I'm sure you will like him as well. Check him out. So what else we're talking, you guys? We're talking funding your move abroad ventures. Funding your ventures. I'm hoping that those of you who were over on the other channel, well, on the other live stream where we had problems, I'm hoping that you guys are over here now. But we're talking about funding your move abroad ventures. And so there are a few ways that you can really do this, right? You can fund your move abroad with a job. Ambitious Panda, you got your notepad. All right. Listen, let's talk. You can fund it with a job, a remote job. Now, a job is actually one of the easiest ways to do it. Ambitious Panda, you need to find a place to buy a dog. You know what? I don't know where they buy dogs here. I don't think I've ever seen like a PetSmart or a pet store here. I've seen stores that sell pet products. I mean, I have a dog, but far as like where they buy them from, I don't know. It's a really good question. I don't know where you get them from. But what type of dog do you want to buy? Are you looking at a small one? Are you looking at a bigger one? But going back to moving abroad, your job is going to be probably one of the easiest ways to do that. If you have a situation where your job is able to, like Ambitious Panda, her job is moving her to France. That is going to be your 100% ideal way to go. That is how I went. In terms of, my job wasn't moving me here to France, but my I got permission from my job to come here. So everyone knew, they were all aboard. I had worked for them for more than a year, and this was an international company, and it, they have operations in London and all of that. Hey, Des. Hey, girl. Hey. So they, yeah, they were fine with me coming over. So a job is going to be your easiest and convenient way. You will be able to benefit from that USD salary. Like, I cannot tell y'all, like, my living expenses are so much lower here, and my living expenses are lower, but for what I do, my salary would be about the same, lowered. I would be looking at an immediate, I think, a 42% hit with taxes, with French taxes. They do not play on that. So yeah, yeah. You That USD combined with the lower cost of living in France has been a financial lifesaver for me. It is how I'm able to stay here, um, and um, and live a better life than I could in the US. Really, it really is. And so I've done a few videos about that. Need to do more, because I promise you, it is a total lifestyle hack. You will see once you move here, Janelle, you'll see, and Ambitious Panda, both of you, you will see how things are so much less. Granted, some of your everyday products that you may buy, they sell them in smaller packages, right? So you don't find those super big Costco sized packages, but my expenses are definitely lower. Janelle is saying she plans on working half time in the US and then live off her income. Oh, I love it. And that's the thing. You can totally work part time and be fine here. Totally. You're an insurance broker in the process of becoming a realtor. Well, congratulations for that. My son is in the insurance business. He does property. What is it? He works for a large insurance company. I'm not going to say which one. He works for a large insurance company in Atlanta, and he's studying to be an adjuster, but for right now he does property. Is it property, like life and casual or something like that, but insurance sales, but he's studying to be an insurance adjuster. So he is my son has told me, like, Mom, you should be an adjuster because you can totally do that from where you are. They don't care. I don't know about all that, but it's something that to keep to keep in mind. Ambitious Panda, we need a video on expat taxes. Yeah. I need to do that video. I need to file my 2023 taxes for France. I have not. I'm behind on that. I keep up with the US tax filings, of course, but France is does not tax twice. I'm still trying to make sure I don't owe nobody, though. Okay, so France does not double tax your income. The US, well, no matter where you are, unless you renounce that citizenship, you are going to pay taxes on your worldwide income. So France will not double tax you, from what I'm hearing. Ambitious Panda, is cheaper to buy a home in France, good loan rate. It is, but there are a few difficulties with in terms of that US income. So they would prefer for you to have French income. From what I'm hearing, I follow a popular attorney. Her name is not attorney. She's a real estate agent. Her name is Adrienne Leeds, Leeds. She's got a newsletter. She's on, like, House Hunters International. She talks about it a lot, how the French banks are tightening up standards. A lot of folks come in with cash. So unless you've got cash, I don't know, maybe a little bit different. I'm hearing a little bit opposite. I'm hearing, like, the real estate market here works differently. It's much slower growth than the US. So they don't have the level of appreciation the US has. But for right now, I'm still seeing people in various Facebook groups and social media saying they're coming over, and they're buying cash because these banks have tightened up a bit, from what I'm hearing. Oh, Janelle used to be an adjuster. Okay, great. My son is looking at going the independent route. So he wants to be an independent adjuster. So, yep, that's what he's looking at. I have told him that, like, for me, I don't know if that's my skill set. Like, all the stuff that he has to go through and do and all of that, he's looking at getting his license in Georgia and then in Texas and some other states. It's a lot. It's a lot to prepare for that. But it definitely supports a work from abroad lifestyle for the most part, especially if you're independent, right? So, yep. So, yeah, but moving abroad, the job is going to be one of the best ways for you to do that. If you don't have a job, right, you can finance your move abroad. One way I don't particularly suggest is looking at the job market wherever it is you're moving abroad, because for the most part, with the exception of some countries, you are not going to be paid anywhere near what you would be paid in the US. And also, when you are moving abroad as an expat, most of these countries, they will let you get your visa, but they will absolutely not allow you to take jobs from their residence. So you have to be really careful with that one. A lot of visas, you don't necessarily have work papers. So for my visa, I'm on a 1 year visa. I do not have work papers here in France, so I cannot work for a French employer. It just will not work. So, and you've gotta, yeah, it will not work. So, I do not recommend, unless, again, unless you are moving to, I don't know which country would be a great example, but a country where the salaries are going to be about the same. When you look at most of these countries, you look at let's take Portugal, let's take, for example, South Africa, let's take Kenya, let's take Mexico, let's take here in France. Most of these countries, right? You have they are not you don't have work papers. Now you can operate a business, right? But in terms of work papers, you do not have that. So keep that in mind as you're figuring out like how you're going to fund your adventures. But the business is also another way. Remote online income is another way you can fund your move abroad journey. Whether you're moving abroad, whether you're traveling abroad, if you've got remote online income that is location independent, meaning you can operate that business anywhere as long as you have an internet connection, okay, and access to whatever tools you need. You don't need to be in the US for it. It is not always having a business is a more stable way because we know with our economy in the US being the way it is in the job market and the job outlook, right? But the business will offer is harder to start and sustain, but it'll offer you like that true freedom. Because what ends up happening is folks, may move abroad, you have cutbacks at your job, you may lose your job, anything can happen. And so there goes your source of income. So what typically happens is that people will just kind of like they may pack it up and go back home to the US or wherever your home country is, right? But that remote online income, if you've got a business, whether you are a consultant, I don't know what you're selling, consultant, whether you're selling Mary Kay, listen, whatever you're doing, okay, whether you're selling websites, whether you're selling t-shirts, I don't know. But that online income is going to be the one of the best ways that you can maintain your lifestyle and not have it tied to a job or the US economy. Like it really is one of the best ways that you can do it. So um that is one way. Another way, and this is like a partial way to kind of fund your lifestyle. What many people are doing, they're doing one of your biggest expenses, right, is going to be rent. Well, no matter if you're renting or buying, usually housing is one of the bigger expenses. Some people are using sites like Trusted House Sitters or Home Swap or whatever to be able to kind of cut that cost. Because you think about it, what is your major expense usually? And it's where you live. So if you're able to cut that expense, right, by watching a home, or usually it's watching animals, right? It's usually watching animals. So you are in, like, let's say you're in the UK. The UK has I don't know, they got more animals than they have people. I don't know what's going on, but it is a crazy market for a crazy good market for pet sitting. So if you want to tour the UK, there is demand, and there is a whole season. It is a big demand. They take like a month off vacations, unlike the US. So they're traveling, they're going on holiday. Okay, they need somebody to watch their animals. If you can be that person, and typically you're going to pay your travel costs to get there, but again, you're not paying for a hotel, you're not paying for an Airbnb, right? If you want a way to kind of dip your toes and see if this is a lifestyle for you, it might not be a bad idea to set up an account on Trusted House Sitters. I'm going to put the link to that in the chat. I think I might have an affiliate link. And so you guys like go on there, figure that part out if this is what you want to do. If you like animals, of course, right? This may be an option. There are some other sites. It's called, I think it's Workaway. And you can do like work in exchange for room and board. And please make sure you research all of these different options. Like some of these things may not work. Like if you say, well, I'm allergic to cats and dogs. Well, okay. Trusted House Sitters probably isn't going to work for you, right? So you have to pick what's going to work for you. You got to pick what's going to work for you. I'm going to turn this light on. You got to pick kind of what's going to work for you. And yep. So it's about looking at what your options are and kind of going from there. But we have a whole lot more options than what we think. We just, a lot of times we are just not thinking along those lines. For those of you who perhaps may be retirement age, maybe you have a military pension, again, check your particular, requirements. Okay. That may be a way to fund your move abroad adventures, especially if you've got a pension, right? A US pension or Social Security. Listen, you can totally, that's your money right there. And you will get a visa for sure. You will get a visa because they look at it as guaranteed income. So, yeah, they will definitely rubber stamp your application for sure. Ambitious Panda, am I making friends in Paris? I am. I finally am. Like, I finally, making friends with someone in my neighborhood who knows everybody here. She's a fashion designer and stylist, and she just knows everybody. So, she's a little bit older than I am, but I have like every week I'm going out with folks, whether they're people visiting, whether they're expats. Um, Me and my friend, we go out quite a bit. We go to, and she speaks to me in French, which helps, right? So I definitely need to improve my French, which I think will help me just in terms of making more friends here. So, but my friend speaks to me only in French for the most part. So, well, we speak a mix of French and English. So her English is getting better. I think my French is getting a little bit better. I'm still on the struggle bus now, but things are improving. So I think the friendship part is important. And the language part is important with that too, because it gets to be like I've met people and it just kind of falls off. And I think a lot of that may be because, the language barrier, not knowing French. So it is what it is. I am making a definitely a more of an effort. The weather is, I think, finally starting to break here. So I'm having a just a great time. Like I'm feeling, honestly, the first year I kind of felt like you do so much in trying to figure out like to gain your footing and to figure things out. And like now going into my second year is like now is the time where you really can kind of hone things in, make friends, figure out what it is that you like and what you don't like. So I'm having a great time. Having a great time. So Ambitious Panda, I can't wait. Definitely, I'm so excited for you. So excited for you. Um, but yeah, that's one of those things. Like for me, I purposely, keep in touch with my friends in the US because there are some folks who are like, oh, once they leave, they don't want to talk to nobody else. And I'm not like that. I'm just like if you are a friend, you are a friend. I manage the time difference. A lot of times I'm waiting to call my friends. I'm waiting till they get up, right? Because I mean, it's early and I want to talk, right? It's early for me, but it's literally in the middle of the night for them. So I'm like, come on, like, come on, like 2 or 3 p.m. my time, because I'm 6 hours ahead of them for the most part. My friends in Atlanta, and even like my family in Michigan, right? So yeah, I'm always waiting around like, come on, like y'all get up. But yeah, it's important to keep those friends. It's important. It can get isolating as an expat, right? Not knowing the language, being alone. So yep. Ambitious Panda. Yeah, not everyone is happy. Like you don't want to think that way, but not everybody is happy to see you moving on and doing some different things. So I think a lot of times people feel like they're going to get left as a either a friend or whatever. And I don't get it, because you could be moving across the country. You can be in New York and moving to California somewhere. And I'm always like, well, would you be happy for that, or are you just like, what's really going on? So sometimes people, they get in their feelings about it. Maybe they wanted to move abroad, maybe they just didn't do it, and you're out here living your life doing it. And so I know some people are like, you shouldn't keep things quiet, you should whatever. And I'm just like, for me, I was very specific about who I told. I only told very few people. I didn't have any room for people to be negative or for people to make me doubt me. Like, it's enough to move abroad. It's a process. So I didn't want any kind of doubts to creep into my head. I didn't want anybody to be like, well, have you thought about it? Or, it's race is over in France. Well, are you going to be safe over there? That's so far away. Like, if I cannot tell you the amount of people, my children are grown, okay? They are about to be 27, 25, and 23 is my youngest. And I still have people ask me, well, how did your kids feel about that? Like, what do you mean how my kids feel about it? Like, they're living their lives. They are young adults. It's not like they're 13, 12, and 11, right? They're living their lives. So it's funny how people get. It really is funny how people act. Like, I'm like, I'm sorry, y'all, trying to get this mic together. I'm like, they have nothing better to do. So I am very much of the opinion that tell people after you've made the move, right? There are some people you just will tell after you've arrived on French soil, okay? And even then they will still have something to say about it. So I'm just saying, if you sit back and watch how people will get, it can be very, very surprising. Very surprising. So, sometimes you hate to move in silence, but it is sometimes necessary, because folks will show their entire behinds. Okay? Once they find out you're doing something that they may have wanted to do or couldn't do it. And for me, I'm always like, what is that about? Like, you got to work that out, amongst yourself. Because I'm the type of person, I'm happy for my friends, right? Even if it's something that I could not do, like whatever accomplishment that you have that you want to do, there is no competition. So if you're doing it, I'm happy for you, right? You don't want to be with people who are competing against you. So whether it's friends or family is another one. Now, family is the one where you're gonna get all kinds of unsolicited comments, and it's like, I didn't ask for feedback or permission, right? I didn't. I'm a grown adult. I didn't ask for feedback or permission. I've been making decisions. I'm almost 50 years old. I'll be 50 in November. I've been making independent decisions for a long time. 3 children, they came out perfectly fine. They're doing perfectly well, all independent and on their own. My youngest is in grad school. So, and even her, she's independent. I don't pay for her bills or anything else. So it's kind of like, yeah, like I've been existing in this world for almost a half a century, whole half a century. Yeah, ambitious panda, the best friend who moves weird. Yeah, that's so disappointing. Des, you're with your cousin now. Just told him moving to Paris, and you said, "Oh, please, listen, listen. Don't tell. I know. Listen, I know that's your cousin. I know that's your cousin. So you gotta. Some people you have to. You can't tell them. You just gotta show them. Okay. You just have to show them, and then they'll say, "Well, why didn't you tell me?" Cause I did tell you. Right. That's how you gotta be. That's how you gotta be. And it hates. You hate to be like that, but sometimes people feel like, if you are Des, I think you're in New York, right? So people feel like, well, you've been in New York for all these years and you ain't moved nowhere. You haven't, New Yorkers moved to, where do New Yorkers move to? North Carolina, Atlanta, right? Or the South. And they're like, you moving where? You moving across the water? Across the oceans? Nah. So listen, you just have to, get it together and maybe be quiet about it. And but because they may doubt you, folks may doubt. And I didn't have any room for that. I was like, no, I can't even deal with it. So absolutely. And then the best friend who moves weird, ambitious panda, which is, that's a disappointing, the thing that's so disappointing, because it's like, man, where, how long have you felt this way? Luckily I didn't have that happen, but my circle is real tight. But I definitely have heard of people it happening too, and it's heartbreaking. We don't talk enough about, we talk about romantic partnerships or romantic, relationships ending. We don't talk enough about, those best friends or friends relationships ending, because you literally do, like, you go through like a breakup, like you grieve the friendship ending. So it's difficult. Ambitious panda, told your elderly parents and not mentioned a word since. Told your French friend who was supportive all but said I would be leaving. Yeah, and I get that my best friend was fake happy. Okay, listen, zip the lips, don't say nothing else. Hey Tanya, happy Sunday. Yes, people do not understand. This is your life. You only get one, right? You're not asking for permission. Exactly. Done explaining, done asking for permission. Listen, I'm not asking you to finance this move, right? All of this stuff is coming from me. Like, it's my money, my time, my energy, my effort. I'm not asking for nothing. I mean, beyond just support, beyond congratulations, good luck. I'm glad you're making the move. If you need my help, let me know. Just don't be negative about it. Listen, ambitious panda, your number is changing. Hey, listen, I understand. You can be selective though. I listen, I do understand. And I need to do a video on this part, because don't give up all your US stuff. Like, it's really important. Like, I know some people are like, I'm done. I'm turning the phone off. I'm not, I'm closing the bank accounts. The only reason why I say don't do that is because you need your phone to verify, like, your just accounts and all of that stuff. Keep that US number if at all possible, even if you have to port it over to like a mint.com or something, maybe that's, kind of like you got like a burner phone or whatever, almost. But keep it to where you still have it, and keep your US bank accounts if you can. Have a mailing, like a PO box or something, not a US postal, but like UPS, or there are a few other ones that will allow you to scan your mail, because you do actually need it. Like, it's crazy. Like, if you have any kind of business, and a lot of times you move and you think, I'm not going to have any business. Well, you never know. I had something recently that came up, and I'm like, man, I am so glad that I still have like that US phone number, that mailing address, all of that good stuff. And WhatsApp. Oh no, WhatsApp. Listen, they're not using WhatsApp. They're not using WhatsApp. They're not using WhatsApp. Everybody from the US is like, why do I need WhatsApp? Because they're like, no, they don't even use WhatsApp. Man, Des, Tanya, listen, and you will get more support from strangers. You will get more support from people in this community. You will get more support in Facebook communities. You will get more support from strangers than your own, which is really sad. But I look at it like, people just don't understand. And it's not your job to make them understand. right? It's not your job. Um, Des, you're saying it's your favorite cousin. It fuels your ambition. Listen, I get it. You may have to have a conversation with him. If it's your favorite cousin, you can have a conversation with him and just tell him, look, I need support right now. If it's anything that's critical or negative or could be viewed as insensitive, please keep it to yourself. If that's your favorite cousin, you can probably talk to him or her about it, right? Ambitious Panda, yes, we are definitely rooting for you, Des. We're rooting for you. I'm rooting for everybody, right? We rooting for everybody. Okay? In this community, listen, moving abroad is a big step. Traveling abroad is a big step. Wherever you are in that move abroad process, it's a big step. So for you to make the decision is a big one. Is a big one. So we have to support each other. Like I said, I had a handful of people who I told. One person who I talked to a lot was a friend of mine who was an expat who was lived in London for 20 years. She knew a lot of things in terms of like my day to day, like, okay, girl, I'm trying to get this visa, I'm trying to do this, I'm trying to do that. She has just been just instrumental in help in terms of in helping me. Um, you need that community of people who support you. Okay, that's important. It really is important. But yeah, moving abroad does not, like I said, there are a few ways you can do it. Remote job, right? Your job, the only challenge that comes with that is that we know that in the US, they're moving toward a hybrid, right? Hybrid is what's going, and they are taking back remote work. So it's a little bit harder to get a job remotely. So we know that, remote job, your job moving you there is one way. Again, you're able to benefit on USD income. Depending upon what country you're going to, you're probably able to get a really good exchange rate. We know another way is going to be your online business, right? That is the way you can fund your adventures. We know a third way is going to be kind of bootstrapping it a little bit, maybe doing some pet sitting, doing some work swaps. That could be a way to kind of cut down on your expenses, right? But those are some ways that you can do it. I'm a big fan of, you know, I know of people being me, who work multiple jobs to save up the money that I needed to save up, right? To fund the visa expenses and the attorneys and all that good stuff. Um, Using your tax income refund checks, right? If you get a big chunk of money, there you go. There are some people who use things like severance and unemployment to fund their lifestyle. Okay. It is, Tanya, like you mentioned, it's a big step, but it is not impossible. Sometimes it takes some planning. Well, I'm not going to say sometimes. It does take some planning, okay? It definitely takes planning. It depends on what stage you are in life, right? I feel like my camera is really, hold on, y'all. I feel like my camera is like so dirty. Give me a second. It looks kind of fuzzy to me. Hold on. Okay, I hope this is better. All right. Um, okay, I hope that's better because I don't know what was going on. All right. Excuse me. So yeah, you guys, but yeah, so it's this is much better. My camera was filthy. Oh my goodness. Sorry about that. Yeah, but no, it is as Tanya mentioned, it's a big step, but it is entirely possible. It is entirely possible. And once you do it, a lot of people will try to say, like, what if you don't like it? I'm a big fan of, if I don't like it, I can move back. I can just move back. Okay? You can move back. If you don't like it, nowhere is forever. If you don't like somewhere, you can move back or you can move to another country that you like better. Okay? If country A does not work out, there are a lot more countries in the world that may. So it is just a matter of, yeah, making things work. Des, definitely. I feel like we are friends here. I feel like I don't know y'all like that yet, But I feel like, yes, listen, we are a community here. I'm rooting for y'all. Like, I'm rooting for y'all for real. Um, it is about that encouragement. Like, I just want more Black women to realize that this is a possibility. And I keep getting so many video ideas during this conversation, but I'm going to do a video about how moving abroad is actually it can be thought of as a selfish choice. Because the reason why I say that is because, especially as Black women, y'all know that we're expected to do everything for everyone and everybody but ourselves. So the minute you say you are moving abroad, is putting yourself first. Okay. Um, I knew from me, I had a window of time. My kids are young, they are not married, no children. And I'm like, my mother is doing well, relatively well health wise, right? I knew from me that like now is the time, because I didn't want to, I'm not going to say I didn't want to move like once if my kids have children or my mom gets ill, but I know that like it would be harder for me to do it. So Tanya is asking, do I know of anyone that has moved to France on a student visa? What are there's someone, I think, is there someone in here who I do know someone who moved on a student visa. I know someone who is currently majoring in, I think, like French as a she's in a language program. I thought it might be somebody on the chat who fit this scenario, but I don't think this person is on. But yeah, like you student visa is a good way. It just, you have to be sure you're going to complete the program, because if you don't complete the program, then it's like you're out of there. So, and they do check. They definitely check. So as long as you're sure you're going to complete the program, absolutely. And your other question, Tanya, is what are some nail hair salons like for us? Listen, okay, I will say this. There are plenty of salons that will braid your hair. They will braid your hair to your kneecaps, okay? Listen, past your kneecaps. But it's a little bit different in terms of here in Paris, at least. Get like something like a simple blowout is a little bit different. Um, you it just is different. So there are tons of African salons in terms of they were braiding salons, but hair salons you have to look a little bit harder. Not saying they're not here, because they are, but you have to look a little bit harder. Yeah, yeah. Nail salons, same thing. I mean, it's plenty of nail salons here. Plenty of nail salons. Listen, Des, and they will charge you under €100. You can get your. I mean, I look at videos on YouTube, and y'all, I lived in Atlanta for a long time, so I'm used to some of these shenanigans these stylists try back home. I'm looking at YouTube videos of how some of these stylists have just lost their minds in the US. They just have. And I look at how much I spend, which is nothing comparatively. Like, I'm not having to go on a booking site. I'm not having to pay a deposit. I'm not doing any of that. That stuff does not exist here. Literally, you go to the spot. You can go to Chateau Rouge. You can kind of take your chances. I don't necessarily suggest that, but if you just got to get it done, like me, my hair up under this thing right here is woo. So I'm going to get somebody to braid my hair this week. Like, I keep saying I'm going to get it braided, but I need to get it braided because I'm tired of dealing with it in terms of I want to just be kind of hair free for a minute. I just only want to have to wash it and moisturize it in the braids, and that's it for like a couple months. If I can just get 6 weeks, I'm good, right? So I'm going to get this hair braided this week. I'm going to condition it probably tonight, deep condition it tonight, and I'm going to somebody's braiding salon on Monday. I think they might be closed on Monday, so Tuesday. All right. So there are plenty of places. If you are in Paris, if you are outside of Paris, there are a lot of places too. Um, oh, you're a licensed cosmetologist. You love doing nails. Listen, you know what? You never know. What I would suggest, honestly, I, I feel like we as Black American women, not listen, hair is not my particular ministry. Okay, let me say that first and foremost. But if you are a licensed cosmetologist, you can totally make a lot of money because they love American styling. All right. And we do some hair, baby. We do some hair. So you'll see stores that will say, selling our hair care products, saying, American products. It is totally a thing here. So listen, you may want to keep this in mind when you come here. Okay. Building your business here, because if you can do half of what most hairstylists, competent hairstylists in the US can do, you'll make a ton of money. The weaves here can be a bit much, meaning in a bad way. Like if you can come in and slay somebody's weave and do a good blowout flat iron, listen, you'll be printing money, okay? Printing money. Okay, Ambitious Panda, we need the black hairdressers video. I'm gonna do, okay, so you know what? I got some old footage of someone braiding my hair. I'm gonna put that up. All right. It's a couple years old. But it'll kind of show you what the braiding process, just kind of like what the salon looks like here. I'm also going to, when I do get my hair braided this week, I'm going to definitely do a video on that too. So stay tuned for that. The hair experience here is not like the hair experience in the US, okay? Not the braiding salon experience. It's just not. So it's a little different, okay? A little different, but it is so much cheaper cuz I'm looking at these girls on YouTube and they're paying like 750 for a jerry curl. They're paying 1,000 for human hair braids. They're paying just ridiculous amounts of money. Just I'm like I can't like no, I'm not mm-mm can't do it. But I have literally gotten my hair braided and have sat next to people getting weaves, and I was like, girl, I know my face was probably showing what I thought, but I literally was like, girl, you should get a refund because that don't I'm sorry, when it comes to weaves, when it comes to certain styling, there's nothing that you listen, we do it, that we just do, we do it. Tanya, you can do the blow, but the weaves can be challenging. So I don't know if it's the hair. I don't know really what it is. I don't know if it's the hair. I feel like maybe it's an application or technique. Again, hair is not my ministry, but I know what a good weave looks like now. Okay. Yes. Ambitious Panda, you're putting together a list of beauty services from Paris from wax, nails, haircut. Yes, please. Thank you. That is an essential list that is needed. Let us know when you complete it. And definitely you may want to shout it out here in this community because yeah, it's needed. Folks don't know exactly where to go. And so yeah, it's definitely needed. I mean, when you want your hair done and your nails done, you just want them done. Okay. So definitely let us keep us, let us know where you are with that, and you can definitely publicize it here in this community. So, for those of you who may be interested, there is a hairstylist near me. I need to check her out. I think she has. I'm looking at her Instagram. I think she has more of a traditional salon experience. She's a little bit on the higher end now because the pricing is just so ridiculously low that that's a lot of the reason why the salon may not look like our salons will look at back home. So but it is totally possible, like you can get your hair especially braided for just next to nothing, like next to nothing, because I'm literally going, okay, if I do my hair myself, I got to get some products, right? And I'm like, how much is that going to cost me? I literally can get 10 cornrows to the back, maybe 8 to 10. Including hair, I'm going to say about $40. Including hair, €40. So that lets you know how cheap it can be. If I get the box, like just your box braids or whatever, long, anywhere from 80 to 100. So depending upon the length, the last time I had some, they were literally like almost hip length. Like they were pretty long. Maybe like the top of my, yeah, it's like they were pretty long, almost hip length. and that was like 80 bucks, and I promise you she would have wanted to go even longer. Um they were fairly long. So yeah, it just depends on what you want. You can find it here. You can totally find it here. So, any other questions? We've been talking for almost an hour, you guys. Any other questions that you guys have? Let me know in the comments, in the chat. Any other questions that you've got? Any questions? What else would you like to know about funding your move abroad? If we don't have anything else, I think I may go ahead and click off. But thank you so much, you guys, for joining me on your Sunday. I appreciate it. I definitely hope that this is the community for you. I'm definitely hoping that we're getting the support that we need. Those of you who are moving to Paris, listen, y'all gotta let me know when you're coming. Okay, let me know when you're coming. Des has a question. Do I have an accountant to help with US and French taxes? Now, I have an accountant for my US taxes. The French taxes is where I need the help. And that's why I'm late, because they have like almost like a TurboTax version here, which I'm told that's probably all I will need. I'm told that French accountants can be quite pricey. So I need to get on it. I definitely am late. For me, I'm looking at getting a 5-year visa. As a requirement for that, I will go into my third year. I will apply at the end of August. So it'll be my third year. And so at the fourth year is when I would begin to get that fifth year visa or begin the process for that, right? And so a requirement of that is that I have my taxes done. So I already know that I have to do this part. So I'm a little behind, but not much. So US taxes I'm fine. US side I'm fine. It's just the French side. So essentially I just need someone to kind of just like input my numbers of my US income. That's really it. So I'm not looking at paying a whole lot for that, honestly. So, but yeah, there are definitely accountants here. I'm in a couple of different groups on Facebook. One of them is called Strictly Fiscal France on Facebook. They've got a couple of different groups, but like in terms of taxes or visas or whatever, check those out. It's again Strictly Fiscal France, and they've got a couple of different groups, so make sure you join the right one. And they can kind of help you with that process. There are tons of people here though who do the tax route. And again, I'm getting anywhere from about 700 to 1,000 is probably what they charge. I don't know if that's multiple years or per year or what. Tanya wants to know about capital gains taxes. How does that relate to moving to France from US when you have a property rental? So I think from what I understand, I have a property rental. And so from what I understand, it's just going to be on the US side of things. They are not going to I don't believe there's a capital gains taxes here in France. I don't believe. So I think that's how they handle it. I mean, the French would look at your US taxes and they would see that particular income. I don't think you're going to have to double pay because there isn't that double taxation. So I think you should be good. You would just only have to look at or be worried about your US income, from what I understand. From what I understand. But the laws are so totally different here. So and it's a good thing they have that income tax treaty. And the thing about it is I know some people, like, you can move a lot of places, but for me it has to be a good financial decision. And Tanya's saying baguette bound. I will check them out. Thank you. But for me, it has to be a good financial decision. And so I'm like, I'm getting, closer to retirement age, right? And there are people here who have retired. They don't have any issue with their U.S. Social Security. They keep those U.S. bank accounts open, which is why I'm telling y'all, like, when you move here, keep your U.S. stuff, keep you some accounts, okay? In the U.S., as long as you have a U.S. bank account where they can deposit that money every month, you are good. But I know the laws are different in terms of inheritance. So if you were to come here and buy a property, Um, who was it? Was it you, Tanya, who asked about the property? I'm not sure if it was you or if it was Ambitious Panda. I'm sorry, but if you're looking at buying a property, this is where you want to be careful because the French laws are definitely different. Okay, so you want to definitely get an accountant or financial advisor to help with that one. You definitely want to because their laws are totally different as it relates to that. And it's something weird like you if you have a property it goes to your next of kin like your children or your spouse, it's definitely different. So you want to definitely check into that. And I know for some people like they've looked at France and they looked at like Italy, and I don't think Italy has the same reciprocal tax agreement, and it makes it a more financially advantageous to go with France. So these are the things that like you got to look at depending upon your financial situation. So everyone has got different things going on. So it helps to go in these groups and communities. More importantly, not really the groups and the communities, but because there is wrong information. No one knows your particular issue. I'm a big fan of paying for advice if I need to. I need professional financial advice. So if that's your in terms of your situation, definitely get a consultation or a consult to do it the right way because there's definitely a wrong way to do it, right? But I know for the most part that applies for real estate here in France. If it's in the US, I think you're pretty much good. Um Ambitious Panda, what is it really like as a Black woman in France or Black expat woman? Man, my life here is so different. It is so different. I don't have the same type of stress, worries. It's one of the reasons why I don't want to leave. Like I go back, but I go back for to visit my children and my mama. Okay? But far as living there, now that I done found out this is a whole financial hack, okay, a life hack, you can't tell me nothing. All right. I'm going to stay here as long as I possibly can. Okay. So for me, my lifestyle is just so entirely different. And it's for me, it's better. Does that mean that racism does, not exist here? It definitely exists here. Okay. Um, but my life is different. The culture is different. I'm able to just I'm thought of as like quote unquote the American. And it's weird because I'm not treated the same back home. Okay. So my life here is so much richer and more fuller. I love it here. My experiences here I've had a few racial experiences here, but overall, I don't have the same pressures here that I do back home. Just the worrying, the stress, I don't have it. It doesn't exist. Um, Let's see. Eleanor is saying U.S. capital gains come into play when you sell a property and it's different for primary residence and a rental property. Yes, yes. So thank you for that advice, Eleanor. I appreciate that. I'm by no means an expert. So y'all know more than I do. Please chime in because I'm just giving you a cursory what I think may be happening, but I'm not an expert on that. That's why I'm a fan of paying for advice. What would you recommend? Ambitious panda. Would you recommend it for a 30-year-old Black woman versus an older Black woman? Listen, I definitely recommend it for a 30-year-old Black woman. I recommend it. Listen, both really, younger and older. But if you can do it younger, I sometimes think like if I could have done this years and years ago, like my whole entire life would might be a little bit different, right? Just I totally recommend it. If you can do it. Honestly, do it now. We don't know what tomorrow is going to hold. We're assuming we're going to be here. We're assuming we're going to be here. We're assuming we're going to get that time, and you may or may not. I know that Stephanie Perry has talked recently on her live about traveling with her mother and one of her because they went a lot of places. They went to like they came to France, they went to Portugal, they went a few other places. I think they went to South Africa and they went on a cruise and just she had a wonderful time with her mother. And so she was traveling with her mom. And so one of the things she said her mom said was that, and I hope I'm getting this right, because again, I'm borrowing this from her. And guys, check out her channel if you want to know specifically, but she's done a few videos about it. But she's talked about how her mother was saying one of her friends that the most expensive thing she'll ever do in her life is plan her funeral. This is for her friend. I don't want that for us. I don't want the most expensive things that we do as Black women is to pay for a casket and a funeral, right? Like, no, I want us to live and travel abroad because we deserve it. If anybody on this earth deserves it, we do. Okay? As much sacrifice as we do, as much as we put people's needs above our own, listen, I totally suggest do it now. Do it now, ambitious panda. Do it now. Your whole entire life will change. If I was 30 years old and living here, my life would be totally different. I moved at 48. So you listen, do it now. Do it now. Do it now. I think your whole entire life would change. The trajectory of your life would change. Honestly, I totally recommend it. Tanya, I'm 53 and wish I had done this at 35. You get what I'm saying, girl. You get what I'm saying. You totally get what I'm saying because it's like when you are in the US, you get caught in the matrix. You get caught in the matrix and you're just trying to get by and you caught up, okay? And you get into that hustle and bustle. Like for me, that doesn't exist anymore. All right. I spend my afternoons, I mean, I do the work I need to do, but I will be at a cafe for hours with my friend. We will go and walk around. And when I tell her I have to work, she look at me crazy. But, you know, I'm just saying your life will be totally different outside of the US. Get outside of the US for a minute and you will see. Ambitious Panda. Oh, Tanya, you're saying you like love for your daughter to finish her last year of high school. Yes, on a happier, stress-free. I tried to convince my children to go to college in Germany. Okay. My daughters, they were like, nah, they weren't hearing that. But like, yeah, you can go totally attend any school in Europe, not any school, but most schools in Europe for much cheaper than the US. It's totally crazy. Ambitious Panda, did I watch Emily in Paris? You know what? I've so many people have told me to watch that show, and I've not watched it. I've not watched it on YouTube. I've not watched it. I have to catch it. Tanya, you caught that on Stephanie's channel. Listen, when she said that, my heart broke. Okay? My heart broke because I'm like, man, I I don't I don't want that for my daughters. I don't want that for my children. You know what I'm saying? I don't that's not the life I want for myself. And so for the most part when it comes to Black women, the one thing we got is money. All right? For the most part. Now, obviously we all have our periods when we may not be as financially whatever. But as Black women in the US, you know, the one thing we're going to have is some degrees, some businesses, some side hustles. So a lot of times we got the money. We just are not giving ourselves the permission to go. We're not giving ourselves the permission to travel. You'd be surprised at the amount of people I know who just they don't travel is just out of it's just out of bounds for them. They make the money. It's not a money situation. It's not. It's their own limitation. It's their own limitation because I promise you, yeah, yep, yep. Des, you're saying you're gonna walk your little dog. Oh, listen, I'm gonna have to look up the pet stores because I promise you I haven't seen them. I'm gonna have to look it up and see where they are. I got my little dog over here, and he's a handful. So, I will look up and see what are some pet friendly places because they gotta sell them. I'm sure. But yeah, my life here is just so totally different. I recommend it for Black women, even if just to get a little taste. And if you get a taste of it, you're not going to want to, you're going to want to continue it, right? And for me, it is, for me right now, it is France. Now I'm looking at getting some multiple residencies, okay? I would love to get one in Costa Rica. I'm considering Mexico, right? I want to be able to get a couple. So depending upon where I want to go, I can do that. But I just recommend if at all possible, just Black women, if we can just, man, if we can just kind of get out of that US matrix, if only for a little bit, if only for a little bit, we'll see our entire lives will be different because I promise you, you get caught up in everything. You get caught up in the what, who done got killed today? Which one of us has gotten killed by or murdered by police, right? Which one of our domestic terrorists, these domestic terrorists are out here shooting up people, right? You get caught up in that. And I'm not saying that I don't care about what happens in the US. I do. I mean, my family is there, my children are there. But living here is different. I'm not having to respond and to react. I know what's going on intimately, but just my emotions are not as tied to things. Like I can remember like Freddie Gray and all of those folks, who have been unalived by police, right? And just the emotions that were tied to that. I can remember the man in Minnesota, Philando Castile. I messed around and heard this man's last moments, and on a video, that was a horrible mistake. It's trauma. It's trauma. So yeah, I'm very careful now with what I allow, and I don't have the mental capacity. I just yeah, I know what's going on in the US. I'm a news junkie. I follow news all the time, but that emotional investment, I don't I don't have that as much, and it's protecting my peace. I'm about protecting my peace, honestly. Um Des, yeah, you want to adopt from a shelter. That would definitely be ideal. I don't, you know what? I don't know. This is like an interesting country because they definitely are about their animals. You will see they love them some animals. I'm assuming that they definitely have some rescue type shelters though. Yeah, Des, it is us being shut down like dog. I mean, they treat animals are treated better. It is mentally exhausting and frustrating. Mentally exhausting. Listen, Tanya, don't bring me no bad news. I get it. I totally get it. I'm the same way. Like, unless, listen, same way. I can't deal with it. Mm-mm. The older I get, the more I find like I am about protecting my peace at all costs. At all costs. Because it's draining. It is not mentally productive, right? It puts you in a weird space. It just yeah. Mm-mm. Mm-mm. I mean, for me, with my kids and my family being in the US, I'm always, like I said, I'm always going to worry. My kids are young, they're in Atlanta. I feel like something is always happening there, right? And I'm always like, y'all, be safe, be careful, be whatever. Yeah, I mean, Atlanta, you just don't know who got a gun. Everybody got weapons, right? Everybody got something on them. And so those are the issues that I don't have to face here. Doesn't mean that violence doesn't happen. And it's crazy, like when I've got family members who'll be like, oh, be careful. And I'm like, no, you be careful. Because I get stuff can pop off here. It definitely can. Stuff can pop off anywhere. Um, my sister had called me. I think I might have shared this last week. It was a drug cartel guy who escaped, and I don't even know what happened with it, but he escaped, and I think two people were unalived with during his escape. And it was obviously an inside job. And she called me like, "Oh my God, it's on CNN. Be careful." And I was like, "What? Like, what are you talking about?" Like, I had no idea. And I just was kind of like, you know what? I mean, I'll be cautious and careful, but I mean, I'm not in that line of business. So I will, he's trying to stay away from people. So I'm like, I think I'll be okay. But I appreciate the concern though. But people, they get concerned. And I promise you, they have more to worry about than I do for the most part. Des, yeah, gotta get away. Exactly. Like the Bobby Brown song. Is it Bobby Brown Gotta Get Away? Yeah, gotta get away. For real. Des, you're saying here in New York there are random attacks. That is scary to me. Those subway attacks is so scary. And I follow a couple New York channels, like with them, some folks like beating women in the head or whatever. It's crazy. Oh my God, elderly being pushed down a flight of stairs. Oh my, the train. Like, what is going on? Yes, and you just mentioned people being punched in the face. Like, what is going on? What is like what I don't get it. Like what's really happening? And I think that just we're just because of these things happening, we are all traumatized. We're traumatized. We're just walking around like hoping it doesn't happen. Then you got to arm yourself or feel like you have to protect yourself. It's crazy. You've been chased. What? You were chased. Oh my God. So what was it? Oh my goodness. That is entirely scary. Oh, that sounds scary. Twice? Yeah, that's scary. Were they trying to assault you? Were they trying to rob you? Like, oh my God, I cannot imagine. And again, I'm not saying anywhere you might move to, any country, things happen everywhere. We do have to be cautious and careful, right? But I know that for the most part, for me, I'm speaking for me here. I'm not moving anywhere to where I've got to have these, like, the crime rate is going to be worse than what the crime rate would be for me in the US. I lived in Detroit and I lived in Atlanta. I am not moving anywhere where the crime rates are going to be like more than those respective places. So some places that's going to make some places off the, like, not a consideration for me. But I know for me, for my peace, it's important. I'm not moving anywhere where I have to, like, totally crazily watch where I move. I've seen people move to certain countries and I'm like, girl, I will not be dealing with that. They don't, people will steal their phones. No, I'm not, and I'm not gonna say the countries, but I'm not dealing with that. No, ma'am. No, ma'am. No, ma'am. Yeah, you taking self-defense classes. Yes. Yeah, you have to remove yourself from the situation. Running is absolutely, I mean, yeah, you fight if you get cornered, if you have no other choice, defend yourself. But nobody is like signing up to, yeah, nobody's signing up for that. I totally understand. I totally understand. That's crazy. That's absolutely crazy. But yeah, I look at the crime rates, like I said, I'm looking at the crime, it's called the crime report index. I'm looking at all those things. Some places are not, I will not be moving to. I would maybe visit, but I'm not moving to because the crime is out of control. If I am living life differently than I would in the US, no. And like I said, one popular YouTuber talked about her experiences and how they felt like, tourists or people they thought were tourists are being targeted and people are snatching stuff and have knives. Mm-mm. No, ma'am. Mm-mm. I'm not dealing with it. I'm not dealing with it. I'm not going to willingly put myself like in that situation. It's just not going to happen for me. So I'm very cautious and very careful. Because yeah, it just, I've lived, had too many things almost happen to me living where I have lived to kind of like now go back, right? Like in terms of to go in a situation that I know is unsafe. And I do a lot of things too that I wouldn't necessarily do at home. Like I'm on the subway, I'm on the train, I don't have a car. So I am walking alone. Um if I come home at night, I'm walking alone. If I'm out at night, right? Like what time is it? It's like 7:25 here. I'm probably gonna go out dancing tonight, right? So I'm gonna get ready, go out dancing for a little bit, may come home around 11, 12 o'clock, or maybe 1 o'clock, right? I have no problem walking down the street at that time here. And would I do that in Atlanta? Absolutely not. I just wouldn't do it. Would I do that in Detroit? Absolutely not. So, again, I'm able, and I'm not totally alone. There are people usually on the street, but it is a different culture here. So I don't have the same concerns. I'm always careful, I'm always cautious. But yeah, yeah, just again, my life is so totally different. I'm not willing to sacrifice my personal safety. I don't care for what country. I don't care what country it is. I know a lot of times Black women are told to move to certain countries, that we are told to move to certain places. Labor is demanded and expected of us. And I'm always like, get somebody else to do it, not me. I feel like, listen, soft life me, please. Okay. Soft life me, soft girl era. I've worked hard enough. Okay? I've worked hard enough. I put the time in. And even if I didn't put the time in, like, get somebody else to do it, not me. But yeah, um, again, very cautious and very careful about where you're moving to. Look at those crime report index numbers and statistics. Okay, look at those personal crimes, those property crimes. Just look at the numbers and see what they are. We know that when you're moving abroad, nowhere is going to be perfect, right? But it will probably be better than the state that you moved from in the US for the most part. So okay, what else? What else? We've been talking for like an hour and 20 minutes. Goodness, it does not feel that way. It feels just like you guys, like I'm just talking to my homegirls, right? So, what else with me? What else is going on with me? I am working on the ebook. I thought I would be a little bit further ahead, but I'm not. But we're gonna get it together. I'll have that together soon. What else? Had really good advice from my attorney that I mentioned earlier. For those of you who may have joined later, or are joining in the future, catching the replay, right? Who talked about the requirements, and so I should easily qualify based upon what my current income picture looks like. I'm excited about that because I definitely was worried. That's the one thing, and this is why I said remote online income is important. That's, that you can kind of control, because your visa is going to be tied to how much money you make. So meaning you have a requirement of, you have to bring in a minimum amount, right? So it always is like in the back of my mind. Okay, so I'm always thinking about that, right? So, and you have to, because they're expecting you to have savings, and they are looking for you to have consistent income. But savings are going to be the biggest thing, which I thought they looked at both. I thought you had to have the consistent income and the savings, but they really, more so from what I'm being told, more so look at you having, as of this time, it goes up every year. It's 17K, 17,000 in savings. They do not, from what I'm told, look at 401Ks. So they're looking at money that you can easily access. So that is the amount that you need to have in savings. You need to have your healthcare insurance from a private healthcare insurance that is usually about $700 to $1,000 a year for a year policy that is designed so that until you get your carte vitale health insurance here in France. The health insurance, I need to schedule a doctor's appointment. I'll let you guys know how that goes. Um, Typically, doctor's appointments are 25 euro for a regular doctor, and I think maybe $70, 70 euro for a specialist. So yeah, I'll do a video about that whole process, because the doctor that I chose is an English speaking doctor. And I just realized how much I got overcharged. I mean, she charges 100 euro. I realize it's important that you know what's going on, but I literally just need a prescription. So I will be trying to find somebody's $25 doctor to go to this week. Okay. It will be outside of my neighborhood because this neighborhood's expensive and they just charge you for everything. So I'm going somewhere else. Tanya, quick to call us lazy, but after working 20 plus years, moving, listen, it's out of the country. Listen, out of the question, because you are going to get paid the same amount. And I hate that whole lazy thing, because I'm just always like, listen, y'all know who built this country. That's like the craziest stereotype ever, right? Um but yeah, I'm not in my work hard era. Like, I've been there, done that. And I'm totally looking at, like, there's got to be something different. These millennials, not millennials, Generation Z, they got it, because they saw us work hard. They saw their mamas and their grandmamas and granddaddies and fathers work hard, and they saw what it got us. So yeah, I'm I just wish that we could kind of retrain ourselves. Like, if I could go back and tell my younger self, like, most of these jobs, especially, this is a whole nother rant. I don't mean to get off on a rant, but most of these jobs, you out here trying to do the most, and the only thing you get is more work. That's all you get, is more work and more responsibility, and you don't get paid additional for it. There is no salary adjustment. Okay, you try to get a bonus or a raise, and they tell you not this year. Been there, done that, wore the t-shirt. So, I'm not saying don't do your job, but all I'm saying is you got that work hard cape on. It does not pay off. I just, unless it's working for yourself, honestly. But when it comes to a corporation, whew, Des, you're saying savings and investments, thought I'm getting when I retire. Listen, you will be okay. And that's what I was saying the other week, right? Like most Americans, what you're getting in terms of pension, 401k, you're gonna be okay in another country. You'll be okay. You will be more than okay in France, okay? The rents will be higher. Yeah, they will be higher, but the thing is they have rent control here. So with the exception of the Olympics, where the rents are just jacked the heck up, um, but they do that because it's a short-term rental. There is rent control here. Yes, rent is going to go up, but it is not going to go up like the U.S. Definitely not. The same level, definitely not. You will be okay. All right. Listen, Des, calling us lazy. I'm like, who you calling lazy? Right? Like, come on now. Listen, we have paved the way for so many other groups to come in terms of immigrant populations, dealing the civil rights struggles that our ancestors, made, right, and accomplished. It has benefited everybody. Hasn't the way they are dismantling DEI is criminal. Criminal. Criminal, criminal, criminal. So yeah, it's kind of like we move beyond just the ending of affirmative action to now we're seeing DEI being dismantled. And I promise you, was it 5 years ago, 4 or 5 years ago, three? I don't know, the beginning of the pandemic, when everybody was talking about Black Lives Matter. Des, listen, everybody ate. They ate, okay, as the kids say. Listen, they sure did. They sure did. And people who do not look like us, whole gender groups who do not look like us, because one of the biggest benefactors of affirmative action are women who don't look like us. So yeah, yeah. And that's the thing. I think when you kind of get out of that, we know what it's like, we know what it is, we know what time it is. So when Des, when you begin your expat journey, you're able to, and other women who are here, who are listening here, you're able to kind of see some things a little bit more clearly. You're able to, what we know what's going on. We are not blind. We don't have the blinders on, but your reality, your day to day is different. My day to day is different. It just is so different. So yeah, we know clearly what's going on. We know yeah, we know what's going on. So I'm at the point again to where I've seen the conversations, I've seen, these young folks out here, and man, they are not having it. They're not having it. And I know a lot of people talk about young folks, but they got some things right, because they're not doing the things the way that we were told that we had to do them. Okay. So every generation improves. So they've decided that things are going to be different, and that the way the work culture is run is different, should be different, and that the way the work culture is run is literally run like it's like the 1940s or 50s, right? And that doesn't work for them. Don't work for us either. So yeah, yep, I'm getting distracted, but yeah, this whole conversation, man, it is definitely, again, I just encourage Black women to live somewhere else. I don't care if it's France, Costa Rica, Panama, China, South Korea, Mexico, South Africa, Tanzania, Ghana, wherever it is that you want to go. Get out there and experience it and see how you like it, right? And if you don't like it, just move. Just move. Go somewhere else. Figure out the requirements, the visa requirements. Educate yourself on that. Yeah, Des, the rents will be high. Yeah, it's going to be a little bit higher. And again, Parisians, complain about it. I get it. I get it. But again, you are probably still going to be looking at things from a US perspective. And for them, for the most part, they make less money. Now that I think I may have mentioned this in an earlier video about what the monthly income requirements are. It's about it's 17,000 euro per year in terms of savings, right? Liquid savings. And then the other part of that, the other caveat is going to be making at least more than like about 1600. It's like 1400 euro is the minimum wage, what a minimum wage worker in France makes. You just have to make more than that, right? So for most of us, you're going to get, whether it's a salary or a pension or whatever, for the most part it's going to be more than that if it's USD. So especially if it's a like retirement income, it's probably going to be more, because what we're seeing in America is that people are unable to retire. They can't retire. They can't afford to retire. So I'm looking at it like, okay, I'm going to be here for retirement because this is where I will be able to live a much better life. I'll be able to live a much better life cheaper. I'm not interested in moving to Florida. Florida is high. Florida is racist. Excuse me for those of you who do live there, but I'm not trying to do that. Okay? Most of the places that used to be cheaper for retirees to live, they now are more expensive. Oh, okay. Senior benefits will not apply to me because I'm not a citizen. Okay. Listen. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. They put their people first. Okay. You can't. Yeah, they put their people first. You won't be able to get anything. I won't be able to get anything either. They put their folks first. Absolutely. They're like, look, if you come in here on a visa, you need to figure it out. We give people our things. Our people get it first. You know what, Tanya? Yeah, they don't acknowledge credit scores. I think most countries do not acknowledge US credit scores, I want to say. It just depends on where you want to go. I don't know about I want to say most countries don't. And I want to say Mexico doesn't either. But the US credit scoring model, that FICO, your FICO score, that's a US thing. When you go to other places, they are not concerned about that. My rental application, all they asked for was my W-2. They asked for my paycheck stubs. They asked for a work contract letter. So I had to have a on letterhead that this is where I was working. And what else did they ask? I did have to get a guarantor, which is crazy because I'm like, from a US perspective, my credit score is one in which I would not need a guarantor. But again, they don't use that credit scoring model. So they're looking at it like you don't earn French income. So you to get an apartment here, you definitely need a guarantor like Guarant Me or Vassal. Okay. So know that going in, they charge a percentage of your rent. Usually for what I'm paying in rent, they charge me about 300, about 350 for a 12-month guarantor or guarantee. And essentially it's like a cosigner. And they basically are saying if you don't pay your rent, we will pay it for you. Now, how they get that money from you is on them. But basically, you need to have that guarantor to be competitive in this competitive rental market. But yeah, these other countries do not acknowledge US credit scores. It is US specific. Um, Tanya, you were 3 points away from 800. Listen, I okay, so listen, we in the same boat because I know for me, my score is going down. I'm like, what happened? It's almost like they want you to be in more debt, right? You're paying on time, no tardiness. They want you to be in debt. I've had periods in my life where I paid off stuff, my score went down, right? It's like your credit has to calibrate. And I'm like, what is that all about? What is that all about? So yes, I'm this close to saying it's a scam because it kind of is when you think about it. They want you to be in debt, for sure. Oh, Des is saying she paid off her student loan and it bounced back to even higher. Okay, good. Yeah, Tanya. Yeah, it's crazy. Like I know, it's crazy. I know for me, I paid off something like 4 months ago, and yeah, my score didn't go down, but it's gone down now. So I don't know what's going on. It's insane. But I'm glad that the US credit scoring model, look, I'm not saying don't worry about it because, if you have any kind of investments or you need to do anything in the US, even when you're moving abroad, your credit score is still going to be important. All I'm saying is I don't monitor it as closely as I used to because everything I'm doing here is not tied to that. Now, if I'm doing more stuff in the US, like in terms of applying for loans and things like that, then I would be a little bit different. But for me, yeah, once you move out, girl, you will see. You will see. It is on one level, it's nice to not have to worry about it, right? Especially when you go to other places. Like I know in places like in some countries in Africa, they want you to pay like a year's upfront in rent. Now, usually their monthly is relatively cheaper. And when you just go other places, you find out that people just run things differently. And it's not better or worse necessarily, it's just different. Tanya, okay, your student loans brought your credit score down. It literally makes no sense because when you look at it, you're paying off your student loans. That is a monumental accomplishment, right? Your student loans were paid off. You now have theoretically access to get more loans, right? So why would your score go down? Why would your score go down? It definitely is. It's frustrating. It's frustrating. I'm glad I don't have to, like I said, have to pay as much attention. I still monitor it. I get that little credit karma thing or whatever. My score had gone down by like 15 points. And I was like, hold on, what's going on? I think it was one particular card balance that went a little bit higher than I'd hoped it to be. But I'm still trying to stay within those credit, you know, what is it, 10%, 10 to 30% or whatever. So yeah, I need to make a big payment on a credit card probably next month and it'll probably go back up. Does yeah. Um Discover list. Oh, use a snowball method. Nice. Now I'm dealing with this Amex and I realize how much money I'm paying in interest and I'm trying to figure it out because they have this pay over time thing, which I got a little notice for that saying could be like 6.9% APR or otherwise 21% APR. And I'm like, how is this happening? Because they have this. I don't know if any of y'all are Amex experts, please let me know because I need to figure it out. I paid too much in interest last month. And you use credit cards but pay them off in full every month, every payday. Yeah, I got a little behind with my job loss. I got a little behind. I was putting stuff on, um, like my rental deposit to extend my lease and all that good stuff. And so, yeah, my balance got a little bit higher than I thought, but it's crazy how they do it because like you pay it off with my Amex. It's not a charge card. It's not a credit card. So I just know I need to get done with them, and I don't want to. Yeah, I'm paying too much interest, so I don't like it. At this point, I feel like I'm getting scammed. I'm the one getting scammed, right? But yeah, Des. Yeah, listen. Yeah, it's hard because I go back and forth between do I pay, get him this $1,000, $2,000, or do I just put this up, right? Do I pay the minimum payment? Especially if you don't, when you a job loss is a job loss, right? And so I am definitely relying a little bit more on my credit cards than I would like to for some things, but I am still trying to pay things off like week to week. Okay, Tanya, no credit cards. Listen, that's probably the best way to go. At one point, I didn't have any credit cards either, but my credit was poor. And so now I'm fortunate to be able to have credit cards, to be honest with you, because I have been in points in my life where I didn't even qualify for ones. Like my score was maybe in the 500s. It was really bad. So, it's a cushion, but you gonna pay for it if it's not paid off. You're gonna pay for it. That's all I can say. So I need to, yeah, figure this situation out with Amex to get somebody on the phone and explain to me because I just make large payments, but it looks like I need to make specific payments because what it's doing is it's adding up that interest. And even though I think I'm paying it down, it's not paying down like I thought it would pay it down, if that makes sense. So it's this pay over time thing they got. It's all of that. So I haven't figured it out, and I'm just like, man, I need to get it together because I'm not paying this next month in interest. I'm not doing it. So yeah, but it's good to, for me, I like I said, I'd highly recommend when y'all moving abroad, keep those, if you've got a credit card, keep those credit cards open, those lines of credit open. I look at it like I will always keep my Amex because I always want to have a way to get home, okay, if I need to. So if I need to put that flight on that card, that's what I'm going to be able to do. Um, but yeah, I don't worry as much day to day about credit. I use my Amex and my Navy Federal. The thing about American Express is a lot of places don't take it here. So if I'm doing some things, like they won't take it. Like restaurants will, major stuff, but like your average place doesn't take, like the bakery near me doesn't take American Express. Your average retailer may not, like a small retailer, they're not taking it because of the fees are so high. So I still wind up using my Navy Federal a lot too. So I don't use my like Wells Fargo debit because they charge for every transaction they charge more. So I'm already losing converting USD to euro, right? So I'm like I don't want to lose more by using my Wells Fargo. So I do a lot of transferring. I'm transferring money. I'm transferring money to my French bank. My attorney told me that I may want to, before I apply for my visa again, that I have maybe run a few more charges through my French bank. So for now, I have like my electric bill. No, my electric bill actually, it's my Amex, but like he was suggesting I have like rent and maybe a few other expenses kind of added on so they can see some activity. And I will totally tell anybody the visa process, it's a money game. It's a total money game. It just is. Like from the attorney to, you need to now, once you get your visa, then you have to pay 200. It goes up every year. First year was 200 for me to get it validated. This year was 220. Next year it'll probably be 240 or 250. So, it is what it is. I just want people to say it. Like just say it. This is how it goes. It is a money game. You get these attorneys, you're paying this money, you're paying for this health insurance, right? That you have to get your visa as a requirement. Just we can be on the same page. Just as long as I know going in. But it is totally a money game. So you have to pay to get your visa validated. If you get your visa and do not get it validated, you've essentially wasted your money because they will send you back home. So yeah, you gotta set aside some money for it because those little fees add up. Your first year, they're gonna do a medical exam. I didn't do one this year. Why I don't know. But last year I did a medical exam, and I went to a French physician, like a clinic. They did a chest X-ray. The doctor asked me which medications I was on, and he stamped it okay. And they included the X-ray. I don't know what they were looking for. I'm like, was y'all looking for some like defective heart problems? But um, I don't know, it's not a funny laughing matter, but if I feel like if you do have some health issues, that may prevent you from getting a visa here. And that's another reason why I'm like, God forbid, right? Like we don't know what's going to happen. While I am healthy, able to move around, get around, that's why I think it's so important that moving abroad, because these other countries have a right to say if you've got like a healthcare condition, like an expensive chronic healthcare condition like heart disease or cancer or whatever, let's just say something that is not able to be, something expensive, right? These other countries can tell you, no, you cannot come in because you are not healthy and you're going to tax our system and we can't afford it. So that's another reason why healthcare is so inexpensive here. France is thought of as being one of the best countries in the world for healthcare. Um, yes, it is inexpensive, but I promise you, if I had like a hole in my heart or something came up crazy on that x-ray, I feel like they would have been like, ma'am, no, ma'am. Tanya, is it challenging to get a French bank account? It is. It is challenging because a lot of times these banks don't want to deal with the requirements. There are extra paperwork required for U.S. citizens, right? We know that they have this reciprocal agreement with France and the US, but there's extra paperwork they have to keep on American citizens because they want to make sure that we're not out here scamming and doing all kind of stuff, right? So a lot of banks just don't want to deal with it. What I would say for you, BNB Paribas is a good branch in terms of they're a good bank that deal with expats. Credit Agricole or Agricole is another one. You also want to look at Wise, getting online banks. Wise is based in, I don't know what European country they're based in, but I have a Wise account too. Get that Wise account while you're in the US. They will send you a physical card. You can transfer money from your US bank account to the Wise account. Really simple and easy. I did that for my transfer for my rental deposit. And so Cash App and Zelle are not here. Okay, there is no Cash App and Zelle. Those are US based products. I can still use those, right? But those peer-to-peer payment options don't exist. Wise, you can use Wise or Revolut. So but I would suggest, yeah, it's so totally different with the bank account, and it's because of those financial regulations. They don't want to keep the paperwork on us, but at the same time, you are encouraged. You need a bank account to pay things like your mobile phone bill and certain bills. You need a French bank account for. So I definitely recommend it being one of the first things you get. Also, La Poste Bank is another one that will give you a bank account. Now, when I first got my bank account with them, they first told me no. They were like, no, you can't get one. Went back the next week, asked again, and they let me get it. So with this country, you just have to ask a couple times and just realize they're going to tell you no, probably. I know someone who had a hard time opening an account with BNB Paribas. She went to a branch in this city and they told her no. It's just challenging. I think it's a French culture thing. They love to tell you no here, and you just have to keep trying. Go back again, go back the next day, go to another branch. Someone will let you open a bank account. You will need a bank account for certain things, and I just suggest you have one. I wouldn't suggest putting all my money there, but I would suggest you have one for your day-to-day stuff. I try to buy stuff like concert tickets with my US credit cards and my Amex. I can't even do it. Like, it's crazy. So some things you're going to need a French bank account for sure. So yeah, it can be frustrating and challenging, but I promise you, you can do it. And don't forget about Wise and Revolut. Again, those are online banks. There's another one called N26. They're based out of Germany, I think. Same concept. But get the online bank account, because what you need what's called a RIB, RIB. It's called an IBAN number or RIB, and it basically is like our version of the account and routing number. So you're going to need that. So start off with Wise and Resolute or N26 and get that physical bank account as soon as possible. You will need to make an appointment. You can't just walk into a branch and open an account. It's not like going to Wells Fargo or Chase. Okay, so it's totally different. Bring all your documentation. Bring your passport, paycheck stubs. They're gonna want to see all that. If you're living with anybody, which was crazy because when I opened mine, my partner, they had to have him there. And I was like, what? Like, this will never happen in the US. Like, imagine you live with your spouse or somebody or whatever, or your mama or whatever who you live with, and they telling you because you live at that address they have to be there to open the account. That would never happen. But again, remember, we're immigrants here, we're guests here, so this is their rules. So he had to be there when I opened the account. So it's definitely different, but it comes with some challenges, Tanya, but you can open it. Des, you're in good health. Listen, the Rocky Steps. Okay, all right, I hear you. Listen here. Those subway steps will work your knees, okay? So, yeah, it will definitely work your knees. Listen, say pretty please, Tanya. I don't know. I just listen. I don't know why the guy told me no, and I came back the next week and I asked again. He told me yes. Okay, sir. Let's do it. I came back the next week. He made me an appointment with the branch manager. It took her about an hour. It took her a long time, and she went through everything. I had to email her all kind of stuff. Okay. Tanya, let me see. Let me put this in the chat. Hold on, because I want to do it now while I'm thinking about it, because I will forget. N26, La Banque Postal, BNB Paribas, French banks that will count. Okay, so yeah, I'm putting it in the chat now. Also, so here's another one, Credit Agricole. But check these out. I just put it in the chat for you. The one that will open an account for you for sure, I'm being told, is La Banque Postal. Pretty much they're like the lowest bank account. They're like they'll open it for everybody. BNB Paribas will also, but I'm told that La Banque Postal is the bank that will open it no matter what. And the banking process is so entirely different here. You will get your which is crazy because you will get your, okay, you know how in the US you get your debit card. They're going to send you your card. I have a checking and savings account. They told me they would send it in like a week. I didn't get it for like 3 or 4 weeks. Then I had an issue with my other account, and I've tried to straighten this out, and it's just been challenging. But you don't get to pick your ATM number, so they send you a number and you have to use that number. So it's entirely different. It's entirely different. I have gone to this bank branch. I asked the manager, sir, you guys sent me an account. You sent the card to my old address, and I misplaced the postal form and I have to go pick the card up with, right? Because I wasn't there when the delivery happened, and they left a note in the mailbox. Some kind of way I lost that. Okay, I don't know how, but I lost it. And so but I can't pick anything up if I don't have that notice. And so I go to the bank, and another branch, and I told this man, this is what happened. I had here, I have a new address, sir. This is after I moved from my partner's house. I have a new address, sir. Here's my utility bill. Here's my EDF bill. Here's my rental agreement. He told me he would check into it. He would call me back. What is your number? I have still not heard back from that man, and that was last summer. So it's one of those things, when they tell you that they're going to take care of something, most of the times they're not going to take care of it. So it is just a difference in customer service here. People will they won't do their job. It's just different. It's just different. And so a simple thing is trying to get my address changed, because the problem is I don't have access to one of my accounts. I don't have the physical card. So little things like me trying to verify, you know how when you're trying to buy something and they'll give you like a push notification, and they'll say like, okay, if I'm trying to buy a concert ticket and I need to, one of the things they do have a verification for is they'll send you a push notification. And I can't do that because I don't have an online account, because I need the code. It's so much. It's just so much. So I need to straighten this out. But yeah, Ambitious Panda, let's see. Just to confirm, keep your payslips, contract, proof of address for the French bank account. I'm getting prepared now. Yes, you need your paycheck stubs. You're going to need your W-2 or 1099, like your annual source of income. You're going to need to bring your passport. You're going to proof of address, your lease. What else? I think that's pretty much it. But those are the main documents that they're going to want from you when you are opening a bank account. Yep. Definitely get prepared now. You won't have a problem, but bring all those with you. Yeah, Ambitious Panda, it's Revolut. I'm putting it in the chat. And Wise are the online banks. Yeah, Revolut and Wise. I don't use Revolut. I know they use it in the UK a lot, but I do use Wise. And again, I have nothing but great things to say about Wise. They have a really easy process. When I go back home, I need to get another card because they're changing over their card system. So the card I have will no longer work. So I need to go back to Atlanta because you have to get the card in the US. So get that now. You cannot get that card delivered to you in France. So I need to go back to the US. I need to get another card, go back to the US and get it, because I always like to have something to where I can transfer money easily. It is a little difficult for me to transfer money from, I tried to transfer it from Wells Fargo to my French bank and it just was not working out. So I don't know what was going on with that one. I like Wise because it was relatively easy. There were a few little snags. I was in the banking space, so I'm looking at things maybe a little bit differently. But yeah, for ease of use, Wise is the way to go. You get your card, you can maintain your account, you can link your US account. It's definitely the way to go. But those are these little things. I'm like, it is so much easier now to try to figure stuff out. I can't imagine if this were like 20 years ago, like what would we do? Because I mean, we're having this conversation and I can tell you, hey, girl, like go get these banks, do these things, see this person, right? The one thing with banks that's a little bit different also, Tanya, is that they're not connected. So you know how you go to Wells Fargo or you go to Chase or whatever your major bank, right? Your major bank in the US. And you know how you go to a branch, open an account, and your account is linked everywhere. Well, it's kind of weird in terms of like it's almost like their banks don't talk to each other, like the different branches, which again, a little different. I don't know what's going on with that one. But for me, what I probably will have to do is I probably will have to go to the bank branch I opened the account at to settle this whole thing of me getting another card, with me just changing the address. Cause I'm like, all I'm trying to do is change my address that you have on file for me. Right? So yes, I can I want to have online access to my account because I don't have it. So it's all of those things. So just keep that in mind when you begin this banking process. I can only tell you about La Banque Postal. Maybe the other branches are a little different. Um, BNB Paribas is a Portugal-based company. So I want to say they may have some operations in the US. Let me see. Wait a minute. Are they in the US? Hold on. Um, yeah. Yeah, oh my goodness. Yeah, they're a global banking partner in the US. BNB Paribas USA. So I don't know about how you go about that. Like I didn't open an account, obviously, in the US, but you may want to check into that because apparently they've got 3,500 employees, operations in New York, New Jersey, San Francisco, Boston, Chicago, Denver, Washington, because BNB Paribas is not in Atlanta from what I know, and several other major cities. So check that out. They say here that they're leading European bank in the U.S. So yeah, depending upon where you are, check and see if BNB Paribas is located where you live. Okay, so that may be a really good option. You can ask them all your questions. I don't know about the transfer process. I don't know how that works, but I feel like if you are a client in the U.S., it's going to be a little bit easier, ideally, if you are a client. If you're trying to open a French account. So at least I feel like you can talk to somebody in English. Okay. Um, yeah. What else? What else? Any other questions, you guys? What other questions do you have? Thank you so much, you guys, for joining me. I really appreciate the questions, the time, all of that. You guys know I'm working on that ebook of My Life in France, the Move Abroad book. I'm working on that. For any of you, if you have more specific questions about moving abroad, I've got 100 plus, like 120 videos up on this YouTube channel. We do the live stream every Sunday at 12 noon Eastern time. But if you need some more specific advice, customized to your situation, make sure you click the link. I take that back. I will put the link in the description of this video. The other link had all my information. You can schedule a call with me, and we can talk about your move abroad plan wherever you are in the process, whether you're just thinking about it, whether you have a plan, maybe you want it to get, run by somebody, wherever. And it's not France specific, it's in any country that you may want to move. I will put that information again in this video, in the description. And so you can book a call if you want. Des, thank you. No, thank you. Thank you for joining. It's been goodness. We've been talking for 2 hours. Y'all, I'm gonna get ready to, I need to go dance for a little bit. I told a friend I might meet her at a club. I don't know about that because now I'm just like, I'm kind of tired. So I'm probably not going to do both things I was planning on doing. But listen, I'm going to enjoy the rest of my Sunday evening. I hope you guys have a good week. I will talk to you guys on next Sunday. Don't forget, same time, same place. Hopefully we're not going to have the same issues. I'm not scheduling anything next time because it's just not working out. So I apologize for those technical difficulties that I had earlier. Thanks again, you guys, for joining me and for your time. Unless there are any other questions, going once, going twice, going 3 times, I'm going to call it a night on my end. And have a good week, you guys. I wish you the best on your move abroad plans and adventures. Stay tuned. Again, rolling out more videos on YouTube. I will keep you posted, and I will talk to you guys next week. See you later. Bye-bye.